Hare Krishna, Gauranga. The other wee thing I wanted to mention was I had read a book the other day, really nice little short one on Harinam Sankirtan. It's called Harinam Eva Kevalam. And I've been mentioning a lot recently about these e-books that you can get on iskcon Desire Tree. And there's some incredible little snippets there, very rare books. We've got most of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharya's books, Rupa Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, so on and so forth. And there's obviously loads of different ones from iskcon devotees over the years that you most likely won't even be able to find in physical copy. And so this one, the Harinam Manual for Performing Public Harinam Sankirtan. And a lot of it is quotes from Srila Prabhupada. Now there was a few, I mentioned that I was reading it, and a lot of devotees were putting some really wonderful comments on what they thought about Harinam. I'm not one for getting into controversies and so on and so forth, so I'm not necessarily going to comment on those different parts. My main thought actually about the book was the fact that there is a book there. If you look around the world, most organizations are regulated, and most facets of life are regulated in the sense that they have manuals to do it better, or to keep everything, to have check boxes. If you're a lawyer, we know that, of course, as lawyers, the law books are like tomes. They have a library upon themselves just for law books. For politics, same thing. The depth of policies and rules, it's just endless. There's thousands of books. For doctors, medical libraries. Again, vast. For cooking, there's different cooking manuals. If you buy a bike, you buy a laptop, you buy, whatever it is, there's a manual, there's a guidebook, Now, our iskcon society is no different. Our ultimate guidebooks, of course, is Srila Prabhupada's books themselves, The Srimad Bhagavatam was being glorified by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as being the highest scripture. His Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Chaitanya Charitamrita about his life and teachings is one of our highest, most advanced books. And of course Srila Prabhupada has translated both of them along with the Bhagavad Gita as well, which is the teachings of the Lord directly, 700 slokas spoken by Krishna. So this is our highest books. But alongside that, we have all these little tributaries into the main ocean of nectar. And they're all different manuals. We have book distribution manuals. We have a Harinam Sankirtan manual. We now have a Kirtan standards book that's coming out. There's famous dairy worship manuals, like there's the I believe they call it the Orange Book. It's the Archana Padati. There's different ones like that. Pancharatrika Pradeep is another one. So there's so many different guidelines for all these different services that we do and different things that we do. Of course, naturally, the GBC has all these policy papers that they discuss about how to focus on different points of what the movement does, whether it's the dairy worship, whether it's the book distribution, or the Harinam, or Kirtan standards, Japa, so on and so forth. Why? Because organisation is very vital, Materially speaking, actually, people are not necessarily always so impressed by purity or by the sadhu profile or by the idea of it just something just being, it's amazing because it's transcendental, the spiritual aspect. Yes, of course, there is some people that like that. Tribhuvannath Prabhu, I was listening to one, I was reading it in his book, but I had also obviously previously heard the lecture where he actually speaks that as well. And he said that he could walk into India with his saffron robes on, and he could go into any place because it's respected in India. Even pretty much even to this day now, you could go around in certain parts of India and would be respected as a sadhu. But in the West, it's not so much understood, so that doesn't really have so much meaning. The saffron cloth. People, of course, will see a monk has a certain profile or a certain focus, But what they're more impressed in is your material assets and skills, So if we show that, and this is my feeling, and this could obviously be, so many devotees, and I would like to see the devotees speak on these kind of things, what they think about, our manuals and guidelines and stuff, But my feeling would be that people admire things when they're organised, because they look up to, that's why we look up to powerful people, CEOs, businessmen, rich people, or, stars and stuff, because they've come to that platform, not because they think about, because pious karma, or, lots of really, really hard work. They think that they're really intelligent, have good organisation and good use of their time and so on and so forth. And they obviously, when they put books out, it becomes like a Bible. It's like, oh my God, that's the manual of how to become a billionaire. That's the manual on how to become famous. That's the manual on how to become a CEO of a big company. So everybody flocks to those kinds of books. So this is a thing that's very important. That it doesn't mean that obviously it's all going to be, word for word, whatever's in this is what we should do. Even in the book itself, I took some things from it that I really liked, and there was things that I felt weren't really necessary in Harinam Sankirtan, And of course, you can read the book and see what you think about it. It's only a short one, it would take a couple of hours, But definitely, I think that there is a reason why these manuals are in place. I feel definitely that the movement, is certainly pushed forward by purity as the anchor of everything, but it's purity with organisation. Just like I said in my other video there about knowledge, it's knowledge with consciousness behind it. It's service with knowledge, service with purpose, service with consciousness. So it's also purity and transcendental nature and fired up and all these kind of things with organisation, with intelligence, with manuals, with guidelines, with parameters. Those two things make it more powerful. Just like, just to give one kind of idea from the book, as it was talking about how to do Harinam nicely. There should be banners, people should walk in lines, they should have this kind of thing, they should have clean cloth, there's different bits that all make it enhanced. And one of the key things was being able to play instruments nicely, being able to sing nicely, put your best feet forward, so to speak. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he used to speak about putting the worst singer out there to sing, because we should focus on the purity of the holy name. Now, of course, that's for the devotees. For the devotees, we should have the taste for the holy name regardless of who sings, or who plays what instruments. But for the people out there, they are impressed by musical skill. So naturally, we should have our most skilled instrument, and everybody should try to come to a good solid platform of playing instruments. Not everybody's going to be a kirtaniya, but naturally we should at least be able to play properly, And we should try to put our good singers out there, our good instrument players out there, and it should at least have some foundation, so it doesn't just become a complete, mishmash, in that sense. So that was one of the ideas that I felt that, and Indra Prabhu himself embodied that principle. He said, make sure the purity is there. If the Shuddhanam is not there and the strength and purity of the devotee is not there, then nothing's there. But he also said if the instrument skill is there as well, so with the Shuddhanam and all the pure devotion and instrument skill, then we really have a powerful program, But have a look at that book and the other many wonderful books that are out there, and let's have a little think about that thought. We do everything with a purpose, with consciousness and knowledge behind it. And then we can be fired up like anything we can be flying on the edge of our seat with our enthusiasm. But we should know why we're doing it, and we should have everybody else on the same platform as well, to some degree or another. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Bol.